This isn't about fixing your mind. It isn't about changing who you are. It's about understanding why the mind sometimes gets stuck and why that stuckness isn't random. There are moments when thinking no longer moves forward, when attention circles, when something inside you tightens, when effort increases but clarity doesn't. It can look like rumination, like avoidance, like mental rigidity, like freeze. Different shapes, but often the same underlying experience. The sense that the mind is working hard, yet going nowhere. These states don't appear because the mind is broken. They appear because the mind is under pressure. You notice it when thoughts repeat without reaching a conclusion, when decisions feel heavy instead of clarifying, when attention stays wide, watching everything, but resting nowhere, when letting go feels risky, even when holding on hurts. The mind doesn't stop, it tightens. To understand why this happens, we need to stop asking what's wrong with the mind and start asking what the mind is trying to do. Because these states are not failures, they are mental survival modes. A survival mode isn't a choice, it's not a belief, it's not a personality trait. It's a configuration the mind enters when uncertainty rises above what feels tolerable. In freeze, the mind shuts down movement to prevent further loss. In rumination, the mind keeps returning to the same thought to avoid missing something important. In avoidance, attention pulls away to reduce internal pressure. In rigidity, the mind holds on to familiar structures because flexibility feels unsafe. Different strategies, same goal, stability. What these modes share is not their content, but their function. They all attempt to create a sense of control when the environment, internal or external, feels unpredictable. The mind isn't trying to solve life, it's trying to stay intact. And when pressure continues, these modes don't resolve. They persist because the conditions that activated them haven't changed. Over time, this has a cost. Attention becomes narrower, thinking becomes effortful, mental energy drains faster. Life starts to feel smaller, not because you want less, but because your system is prioritizing safety over exploration. This is often when people say, "I feel stuck." But stuck doesn't mean inactive. It means the mind is working too hard in too few directions. There's an important distinction here. Being stuck doesn't mean you chose the wrong approach. It means the mind has shifted from understanding to protecting. And this is where confusion often appears. People try to think their way out of a state that is created by thinking. They add effort to a system already overloaded. Understanding this changes something subtle, not immediately, not dramatically, but structurally. When you see a mental survival mode as a response, not a flaw, the relationship shifts. You stop fighting the mind for doing what it evolved to do. You start observing how it protects, when it tightens, and what it tries to hold together. Seeing clearly doesn't dissolve these patterns overnight, but it reduces the secondary struggle, the self-blame, the confusion, the sense that something is wrong with you. The mind doesn't get stuck because it fails. It gets stuck because it tries to keep you safe in conditions it wasn't designed to hold indefinitely. This series isn't about eliminating survival modes. It's about mapping them, Because once you recognize the terrain, you're no longer lost inside it. Understanding doesn't free the mind, but it loosens the grip of what holds it. And sometimes that's where movement quietly begins.